weeks ago, you might remember that I was doing a sound review of the Roland SC7 Sound Canvas module. It came out in 92, I think it was, 91, 92. And I got a hold of one in 96. And it really helped me produce all the extra layers of voice that I needed to do some of the bigger tracks. The only thing is, it doesn't have any controls on it, so I was a little concerned when I bought it that I wouldn't be able to do anything with it. So, assuming you've just got something like an SC7 or one of the other Sound Canvas devices which don't have any controls, also assuming that you're using Bandlab Cakewalk, this video might help, because I'm going to go through how you can use Cakewalk to manage your SC device. And I'm going to start at the beginning because there's some really simple ways to get some basic controls straight away, and then there's more sophisticated things that we can look at later. So start at the beginning. Okay, I've started a new document here. So let's call this SC7 piano. I'm hoping my CPU isn't going to burn itself to death doing this, but it probably will. So if we go to Edit and Preferences, and then we want to go down to Instruments, we can then start defining stuff. So I am going to be doing, let's see, the SC7 is going to be on my MIDI out number 4. Let's see, I'm just going to select channel 1 to 9, so MIDI channel 1 to 9. Now if I look at the options, I can define what it is that we've got there. Yeah, well, there's nothing very specific to an SC. Maybe the Roland GS, possibly. Let's assume for now that, I mean, it is a general MIDI device, so it shouldn't really be a problem. So I'm going to go General MIDI, and then I'm going to go OK. And then let's see what that actually generates for us. Okay, so I'm going to set up the first channel of the SC7. The outputs, well, my SC7's on MIDI 4, so put that on there. General MIDI, yes, that's right, because that's what we're going for. Bank doesn't matter in this particular case. And then there's the list of patches. Now, this is going to be the same whenever you do any general MIDI because they're all the same. It's a standard. So we can go for anything on this. And the SC7 should just respond accordingly. The change patch message is sent. Okay, now what I want to do now is piano is what I was supposed to be doing, so acoustic piano. Okay, so patches, pretty straightforward. Now what else can we do here? Now if we have a look at the automation, some of the automation is there as well. So let's see, if we go for reverb then, and then start maybe drawing some stuff in. If I go to, let's see, I'll just draw another bit there. So because of the time marker at the beginning, there's no reverb there, but if I move the time marker up here, you should be able to hear the reverb, and that's because it's now sent that change message, change the reverb level, and that's just the send level. Similarly, we can do the same thing. So I can now put another automation lane in, and I can put it to, say, chorus, and do a similar thing. Okay, so at this point I should have chorus, as you would expect. If we put that onto string sound, for instance, it should sound nice and rich. And of course I can have it on both. And that's pretty much how I was controlling things during the track I made, but also when I was doing the demo. So instead of using general MIDI, I've gone over to Roland GS. And now all of these channels are Roland GS. And the reason being, obviously, the SC7 is a Roland device, so it's more likely to be set up specifically for the SC7. Yeah, so if we go here, right then, so we can see it's underneath, it's Roland GS, and then with many of the GS devices, there's a lot more patches. So you do choose a bank here, and it's the GS Capital Tones, which are standard set. And if you look at these, the names actually are much more like the original SC7 sounds. But it works exactly the same way. But what I did want to show was down here we've got MIDI, and under MIDI we have a whole load of commands here, some of which are exactly the same. So for instance, the reverb and the chorus are going to be exactly the same. Really there's not much more that you need to do in terms of selecting patches and changing the amount of chorus and reverb and the pan and the level. You've got all of those controls pretty much out of the box. So when I was looking at setting up the SC7, I came here and this is what I saw, and sure enough I didn't see an SC7, but there is an option to add more stuff. So you can import instrument files, and there are a great deal of instrument files with Cakewalk. It's got a long history, so people have been doing this stuff for years, I guess. And you can see all kinds of stuff here, different manufacturers, Kurzweil, Korg. Obviously what we're interested in will be a Roland product. So we can open this, and here we have a whole list of Roland devices, including the D50, which I might look at another time. Just loads and loads of stuff, and I guess you can automate ridiculous amounts of parameters by setting these up. But what amazed me really was that when I scroll down here, half expecting to find an SC7, because after all, that's the one that doesn't have any controls on the front. Is it there? No. No, it's not. Of course it's not. So I thought, well, there must be a way to create this. And my assumption was that the SC7 was pretty much the same as the SC55. But I became quite interested in the idea of doing my own instrument definitions. So what I did was, with a little bit of hunting, I was able to find where the instrument files are stored, which is in the Cakewalk core directory, and I created a few. What I did is I opened up the SC55 file and then tried to work out how the text was organized so that you could just make the changes you wanted. So it's things like changing the name of the device, patch names which were slightly different, and then you have the controller names as well. So again, you use the instrument name, and then you can put in these various, these are the codes. You can put in the name of the parameter here. So that's pretty much how far I managed to get with this, and this is just a little bit more specific to the SC7, but it's pretty much the same as the SC55. Very easy to edit, it's just a text document, so you just got to make sure you keep everything in text format, and that will work. And then when you want to import it, it's exactly the same as before. Just go to Preferences, Instruments, you define it, you import, and I've got these hived off in here, SC7, open. It finds the instrument definition, and then you close it, and then you go from here to here. Yes, from here, select SC7, click OK. OK. So it's as simple as that. And at that point, then, when I'm here, it's all SC7. There are no banks, of course, because there's only one set of sounds in the SC7. And there are the sounds. So there's no room for any confusion on that one. But it's a little bit perhaps over the top to do that. But it might be useful if you've got a more unusual instrument that you want to set up an instrument definition for. Okay, I just want to quickly go through how to get the base files that you can work with if you want to work with text files. If I go into this directory here, you can see that these are all the instrument files that come with Cakewalk in its current format. I've set these up so they'll be opened by WordPad. Now if you open this up, there is tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff relating to every single one of those Roland devices. It's a bit much, really, I have to say. So if you were starting your editing here, then you're almost certainly going to miss something. So there's a better way to do it. If you go in here and then go to Preferences, Instruments, and then Define, now we can see that these are the ones we've already imported. So this SC55 has come from that original Roland file, but only the information related to the SC55 has been imported. The rest of it's been left there. So now I can click on the SC55, and if I right click, tucked away at the bottom, we have Export. And then, as you can see, it's already gone straight to the instruments file. And then I can call that SC55 test, so I know it's not anything important. And I can save it. And when I open up the SC55 file now, it's only got stuff which relates to SC55. Then if you understand the difference between the SC55 and whatever other device that you're, in my case the SC7, what the differences are, you can make the changes here and create your SC7 file. So that's how to get started. It's worth mentioning at this point, or possibly even at the very beginning, that there's some pretty good documentation on the old Sonar website. It's all in the Sonar X2 section, and it goes through creating instrument definitions and changing instrument definitions, but you don't have to go searching for lots of text files and stuff like that. I kind of prefer doing it in raw text if I can, but you don't have to do it like that, and it's worth looking at this if you want to get serious about instrument definitions. So I think I've covered everything which was part of the standard voices. The one thing that's missing is the drums. Now a lot of it's very similar, so I'll go through that, but there are some additional points that need to be looked at. So let's have a look at that now. So right, over here I'm going to add another MIDI track. Let's call this SC7 drums. Going to Edit, Preferences, Instruments as per usual, and if we go to 10, at the moment it's set to default, which is really nothing at all. And we need to add something. So I'm going to go to define, import. I'm going to open these and have a quick look, see what we've got here. So if we open the Roland file, then SC55 drum set. So you do have drum sets here. Oh, I didn't realize you could import more than one. So if we went for this one and then go close, we could then select drum set. Now what we've got is drum set, which is what we wanted. SC55 drum set. Right, and then when we go to the patches, at various points we have different drum kits. Now we know that the SC7 doesn't have a lot of these, but to save yourself the hassle, as long as you remember that, that's not really going to be a problem. So let's go for the 808. Okay, it's all there. So that's the basics, and then of course you can do exactly the same thing with the automation, adding reverb, but it will affect everything. Let me just find the piano roll. We can change what's displayed on this side quite easily. So if I right click here, I can change what's displayed here, and the way the file is set up, it automatically displays the drums here. But you could actually change it if you wanted to. What you can do is you can use other note names instead. So these are all the note names which are available. We can see we've got these SC7 ones. I guess that's because I imported those at some stage, and so they're still in the settings. Diatonic is one that's worth being aware of. Let's go for that. It just takes it back to the piano keys, which is interesting because they're not diatonic. But anyway, chromatic, I would have said, would be the correct phrase on that one. So really it's as simple as that. Choose the kit you want. And there you go. Right, okay, so the next thing then is, obviously I had a look at the files and wanted to do an SC7 one. So looking at the file here then, the constructions, you've got the patch names, and obviously with the drum kits there aren't that many of them. And all I've done is just cut out the ones which aren't in the SC7. I've also named it SC7 drum sets. And then a lot of this is renaming as well and just changing the SC55. Now we have this note name section. We name it. And then this interesting line based on, I think this is a way in which you can link them all together. And if you were doing something like this, you could just change the names to suit yourself. This would be particularly good if you're creating your own sound sets. This could be quite a useful way to organize it. And then we have the controller names. Well, in actual fact, these have been taken from the Roland GS controllers. Yeah, I think that's all pretty standard. Now this is the area which I think is interesting that I'm going to continue looking at. These NRPN names. Don't remember what that stands for. I better go and check that out. Hang on. Remember now, so it's non-registered parameter number. So it means that it's going to be something that's unique to Roland potentially, or maybe even the device itself. There is, if you see RPN, and then it's registered parameter number, so I guess that would be the same across all manufacturers and be part of the MIDI specification, I think. The point is, it should allow you to change all kinds of things about the notes. So if you could get the right communication using this, you could change the pitch of every single drum note. And that's potentially quite useful because that could actually give you a lot of variety in terms of the drum kits that you've got and the experimentation that you might want to try. pan. So having the pan different on every single drum. Yeah, of course you want that. Reverb level different on every drum, certainly, yeah. And all of these parameters are potentially available if you can find a way to control them. Then you have this last section, which is the instrument definitions. So that's how the drums look anyway. Okay, that's it. That's how much I've discovered so far. I think there's probably still more to be looked at. And I'll do a bit more delving. If I find anything particularly radical, then maybe I'll do another video about it. I'd also like to thank the Bandlab Cakewalk Facebook group. I've asked a number of questions about this, and certainly without those pointers I would have wasted a lot of time looking at stuff that wasn't really going to help me. So that's really helped, and yeah, I appreciate that. Any more tips from that area would certainly be appreciated. I think there's a lot more that could be discovered here, particularly about controlling individual notes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you got something out of that, then please leave a like. It's very helpful, makes it worthwhile for me. And if you'd like to see more of this sort of stuff, then please subscribe, and I'll try to produce regular, interesting things for you to watch. So thanks again. Bye.